The world's most dangerous women's prisons. The conditions within these prisons worldwide have become a cause for concern, revealing alarming instances of overcrowding, violence, and neglect. 1. Indiana Women's Prison. The Indiana Women's Prison is the first adult facility for females in the United States. This milestone, however, proves nothing in the wake of the unbearable conditions suffered by the incarcerated. The already poor conditions were exacerbated by the COVID pandemic.
As of today, 176 DOC employees have tested positive for COVID-19, along with 346 offenders.
To reduce the spread of COVID, inmates were forced to remain locked in their cells. Usually, 3 to 4 women share one unit with no air conditioning, no running water, and no toilet. In some cases, inmates lost consciousness or suffered seizures from heat stroke as their cells acted like insulated ovens. The temperatures were often 10 to 20 degrees hotter than outside. In addition, the lack of attention from the guards also led to women urinating on themselves and getting sick from the heat. It is truly a kind of psychological warfare.
What I was seeing was the result of policy that had disproportionately affected poor women, women of color, and that a prison will never be the place for a woman or a girl to begin to heal and advance her life.
2. Julia Tutwiler Prison. The Julia Tutwiler Prison houses Alabama's death row females and is long considered one of the worst female prisons in the United States. In 2003, the prison was so overcrowded that it actually violated the American Constitution. There are frequent cases of officer on inmate sexual violence, which sometimes results in pregnancy. Finally, it is known for fully separating expectant mothers from the babies once they are born. They usually only have 24 hours together. This is traumatizing and emotionally crippling.
I always tell them, I say, y'all gonna prepare yourself because, you know, you talking about you ready to go in labor, but when you have your baby and spend time with him or her, and it's over, that's like the hardest thing that ever happened in the world.
Only in 2018 has the prison allowed doulas or a person who supports a woman through labor. Previously, mothers would usually only have a doctor and prison officer present in the room. In 2012, the results of an investigation into sexual abuse were released and found that within 3 years, 6 correctional officers were convicted for criminal sexual abuse of incarcerated women, but only one faced more than 5 days in prison.
The DOJ concludes violations of the 8th Amendment are happening at the Julia Tutwiler Prison for Women. Investigators say more than half of the prison's 99 employees have been involved in some form of sexual misconduct, and male guards regularly have sexual interaction with inmates.
Those who report sexual misconduct are ignored, humiliated, or punished by denying them family contact, stripping them of possessions, and forcing them into unwanted medical procedures.
It seems that the laws don't apply with the Department of Corrections.
Stephanie says she's talking with lawyers to sue the prison for the way she was treated. Ultimately, though, she wants an all-female guard staff. She says she wants to protect future inmates, saying no one should have to experience what she did.
3. Zhang Women's Prison. China is home to Zhang Women's Prison, a maximum security prison known for its inhumane treatment of prisoners. One inmate, Lu Mingying, was subjected to beatings by her fellow inmates. They forced her to sit on a stool from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, and if her pose was not to their liking, they would slap, kick, or jab her with a pen. This happened until she developed bleeding sores on her bottom. She recalls the inmates forcing her to eat food off the floor and opening the windows on her, exposing her to freezing temperatures. Former businesswoman Wang Chengyan was arrested for practicing Falun Gong, a traditional Chinese spiritual discipline persecuted by the Chinese Communist Party.
Wang's blood pressure was so high, it placed her above stage 4 hypertension, a condition needing immediate medical attention and which could result in organ failure. But Yu says prison officials have denied her mother medical parole.
Similarly, Yang Lihua was imprisoned for her faith in Falun Gong. She was forced into slave labor. According to an inside source, when she refused, 2 inmates beat her within an inch of her life. The warden deputy refused to take her to prison, and so she died. Prison authorities then forced Jiang's family to consent to her cremation after they refused to conduct an autopsy. Falun Gong practitioners are allegedly also victims of illegal organ harvesting.
This is large-scale illegal organ harvesting, and the targets are Uyghurs, Tibetans, Falun Gong members. These are innocent people who are killed by the communist regime.
4. Karchak Women's Prison. Karchak Prison is known as the worst and most dangerous prison in Iran and notorious for its squalid conditions. The building is a disused industrial chicken farm with no cells to separate the incarcerated. Water cuts, lack of medical facilities, and poor food are just the start of the problems. It is home to over 2,000 women, but only has one hall with 600 beds, so many sleep on the floor.
بعد دستشویی که می‌رفتیم، یعنی شما فکر کنید که 44 نفر بودیم با 3 تا دستشویی. بعد به ما 1 رو وقت میدادن. یعنی اصلا خیلی وحشتناک بود. بعضی از بچه‌ها حتی وقت نمی‌کردن که بتونن برن دستشویی.
The wards lack windows for ventilation. Those infected with AIDS or hepatitis are not separated from the others. There were also reports of several prisoners with tuberculosis being held alongside other prisoners. Barely any quarantine is exercised. The sewage systems are so inadequate that in June of 2022, there was a sewage overflow. The area inside and outside became putrid. This, coupled with the hot weather, invited insects, lizards, and bees to the site. Women are also subjected to insults, beatings, torture, and sexual violence by the male guards.
Before I go to prison, I heard that they raped the people. They raped the girl before they execute them. But I wasn't thinking that's true. I said maybe overboard or maybe, they just making it up. But that's I saw.
Number 5, IK-14 and IK-2 Women's Prison, Central Russia region of Mordovia. In 2022, WNBA star Brittany Griner was arrested at the Moscow airport for allegedly possessing a vape cartridge containing cannabis oil. It was later confirmed that she had been moved to the female penal colony IK-2. IK-2 and IK-14, where Pussy Riot activist Nadia Tolyanokhneva was sent, are notoriously horrific prisons. In both these colonies, inmates are treated like slaves, sewing and manufacturing clothes. A single salary, which converts to about $83, is divided between many women, sometimes 10. One former inmate said that they would work 16 to 17 hours of sewing under unhygienic and dangerous conditions. If women fail to meet the standards and constantly rising quotas, they are punished.
I also was subject to physical attacks. I was just thrown to places, just like a sack of potatoes, without them asking me if I want to go places. They dragged me by my hair.
A former deputy minister said that when the girls find out that they're going to Mordovia, they cut their wrists, do everything possible, get sick, swallow nails, just so they don't have to go there. Its reputation is known. She also explained that part of their slave work was cutting fabric to size with a saw, and that the conditions were so unsafe that fingers were sometimes chopped off. The deplorable state of these prisons is a deeply troubling reality that challenges the principles of justice, human rights, and societal values. The need for systemic reform is urgent as well as collective commitment to dignity, compassion, and rehabilitation within the criminal justice system.